Hey guys, welcome to day 4 of our tennis strategies, or I guess day 4 of tennis, continuing tennis strategies. Yesterday we talked about 3 different strategies. First, we talked about the up and back strategy. That is where you are hitting the ball back towards the baseline, and then you switch it up and hit it short on them towards the net. Again, that, like the other 2 strategies we're going to talk about, kind of force your opponent to continue going back and forth and tire them out, and also they might make a mistake. Kind of similar to that, but just the opposite, is going to be the side-to-side strategy. Again, it is like up and back, where you're going to keep them going back and forth, but instead of going up towards the net or back towards the baseline, they're going to be going from their left to their right and continuing to do that. Again, the same kind of outcome. That gives you an advantage because it's going to tire your opponent out, and it's going to possibly happen where they make a mistake and they don't hit the ball right, or they hit it out of bounds or can't return it, whatever that may be. The last one we talked about yesterday was down the line. So this strategy, again, is one you got to be accurate with. It's one that you have to practice to get good at, but it's where you hit the ball close to the sideline to where it looks like it's going out of bounds. That could do one of 2 things. Either it's going to trick your opponent and they're going to think it went out of bounds even though it didn't, and you'll get the point, or it's going to cause your opponent to go all the way to one side of the court and return the ball. That way, when it comes back to you, you can hit it to the other side that they're not on and they can't get all the way back and return it. Today, we're going to look at some different strategies. So there are a lot of different strategies that you can use for tennis, but these are kind of some of the main ones. Let's look at these. Alright guys, so now we're going to look at one of our other strategies. This is going to be the low and fast strategy. So it's very similar to the dink, but instead of just barely hitting it over that net, you're going to be hitting the ball with a lot more velocity and a lot more speed to kind of make it tougher for your opponent to react as quickly. So the low and fast is simply exactly that. It's where you hit the ball fast and put a lot of speed on it, and also you hit it low so it goes over the net like this instead of like this. Really, this can be done with our forehand. That's where it's going to be done most of the time because people are more comfortable with their forehands. And it's going to be the same thing. I'll show you an example. Just like our other forehand strokes look like. But instead of kind of gliding it and hitting it softer, I'm going to hit it fast and hard. Again, that one went low. That one would have barely gotten over the net. One more time. Just like that. So that's kind of what that low and fast strategy looks like. We got one more we're going to look at, and this is what everybody should do when they play tennis, and you've already seen it once before. Alright, so our last strategy that we're going to look at is going to be getting back to home base. So yes, we've already looked at this in volleyball, and it's going to be the same exact thing, except that it's 1v1 or 2v2. You don't have, 6v6. But whenever we do this and get back to home base, it's the same thing. Let's say that I'm playing tennis and my opponent, they're using some strategies on us, and they're making us go back and forth, so and side to side. So let's say they hit it to my right side, so I got to go over here, and then once I go over here, I'm going to make my shot, and I don't want to just stay here because now that whole side of the court is wide open, and my opponent can easily hit it there, and then I got to stumble to get over and try to hit it back. So what I want to make sure I do is, let's say my opponent hits it over here, I'm going to go make my shot. After I hit it, I'm going to go straight back to home base and get in my ready position. Our home base in tennis is going to be in the very middle of the court, near the baseline. Now, what you might think is, yes, doesn't that open us up for a dink, for them to hit it shorter? Yes, it does. But just like tennis and just like the other racket sports we're going to learn, it is much easier to try to run up and hit a ball and just get it over the net than it is to have to back up and backtrack and try to hit it like that. So that's why returning to home base is very important. And again, that's the same thing as volleyball. That's if my opponent hits it over here, I'm going to go, make my shot, and get back. So that's all that looks like. Alright guys, so that is all that I have for you guys in tennis. If there's anything else that I forgot, I'll make sure to add it on and let you guys know about it. But again, we looked at everything involving skill and a lot of different strategies. We talked about all the different strokes. We talked about the forehand, the backhand, the overhead, We talked about the serve. We looked at all that on the first 2 days. And then now, the last 2 days, we've looked at, the different strategies. Up and back, side to side, down the line. Today we talked about the lob and the dink. We looked at returning the home base. All that is very important, and you can practice it yourself. Again, I know we looked at, and you guys had questions about the prices of tennis rackets and tennis balls. You can go to Walmart and pay, $12 minimum to get a tennis racket and tennis balls. You don't have to have some crazy $300 racket to play tennis. You can play it just fine with a $10 racket from Walmart. And you can play it just fine with a $1.85 price tennis balls from Walmart, okay? And again, if you want to look where to play, there are courts right here in Ridgeland, right downtown at the district office, and that's something that you can Google yourself. All you got to do is type in public tennis courts near me, and it'll pop up. But yeah, that's all I got for tennis. We're going to move on next week to our next sport. I haven't decided what that's going to be yet, but you'll find out on Monday. See you guys then. Have a good day.